Thank you, and I'd like to thank Alina and the Red Cloud team for the opportunity to come and speak. And I see some shareholders here, so thank you for your trust and support. I've moved the forward-looking statement to the back of the presentation. I'm going to speak to the company, the people, and why Champion should be something that you're paying attention to. Start with the people. So my background is capital markets, corporate finance. I've raised over $500 million for junior mining companies, $150 million of that out of Korea with the big conglomerates. Within those $150 million transactions, it's been with LGES, POSCO, Samsung, Daewoo. I might be missing a couple, but those are relationships that we've had for 22 years. In addition to my background and playing a role on the capital market side, I'd like to highlight my board. I think it's a big company board, even though we have a $25 million market cap. Gabrielle Pindar, our most recent director and now largest shareholder. I would also like to say we're all shareholders. As a team, we own roughly 30% of the company. We've written checks into every single round of financing, and we will continue to do so. Big mining companies are not our partner, they're our predator. Our partners are our shareholders and those who write checks. Gabrielle's an engineer by training. He's built 11 mines around the world, including one for ArcelorMittal in Quebec, so he understands the jurisdiction. And his most recent appointment was as COO and founder for Lithium, which was taken out for $940 million in February 2022. Paul Fornazzari is a founding director of the company. He's a securities lawyer in Toronto. He was a founder of Lithium Americas. He left that board at about a $3 billion market cap and was a founder with Gabrielle of NEO, again, taken out for $940 million. You'll notice I'm going to talk about transactions because we're shareholders and about wealth creating events because we're shareholders. The last director is Patrick Highsmith. He's a technical director. He's American. He's a geologist / geophysicist. His most recent appointment was as the manager of investments for Fortescue for non-ferrous investments, including lithium. He was, and I was introduced to him while he was the CEO of Lithium One between 2009 and 2012. Here at Harp Capital, which is my advisory firm to bring him a partner. We brought him LG, GS Caltex, and Crest for $15 million into the Sal de Vida project. 15 months later, Galaxy Minerals took them over, which is now Allchem. All the projects that we've been a part of have been led to mining decisions or are already producing, and we plan to do the same thing with Champion. On this slide, you see our property in green. That's 9 acquisitions since September of last year. We now control 530 square kilometers in the James Bay. I'm going to point out a few pieces of the infrastructure which I think are important, because if you look at the inset of the map of Quebec, you'll see how remote we are. We have the Trans-Tagar Road. I wish I had a pointer. The Trans-Tagar Road goes right through our property. From northeast corner, we see the LG4 airport, and beside that, the Mirage Base Camp, where we had a camp of 20 there of our team this summer. That Trans-Tagar Road goes right through the property, and it's an important road in Quebec because 35 kilometers west of us is Hydro-Quebec's largest power dam. We also see 2 power lines that come back through the property before heading south into the grid. Notable neighbors on our southwestern flank is Winsome Resources. Winsome is an Australian-listed company. They IPO'd in November 2021 at a 9 million Aussie market cap. They now sit at about a $270 million market cap, and their Kansas discovery sits 13 kilometers off our western flank. Directly south of us and adjoining us is Patriot. Patriot, obviously, with the Corvette, and that discovery sits 6.5 kilometers south of our property. We are all in the same greenstone belt, which I'll show you in the next slide. And Patriot was kind enough to spend $11 million putting a road through our property from that Trans-Taga because they were landlocked down to the Corvette. This slide shows the geologic setting. This greenstone belt was one geologic event that formed. Obviously in the James Bay, where you see the lithium discoveries, is where you've seen the spodumene pregnant lithium, spodumene pregnant in the pegmatites. We are traced in black on this slide. You can see that it comes from Winsome right up through into our property, splays south of us into where Corvette and Patriot's discovery is, and then comes back up to the northeast into our side on the southeast corner of our property. There's been one hole drilled in this property to this point, and that was drilled in 2003 by Inco. Inco was looking for nickel, and you can see that little yellow dot in the southeast corner. That's where that drill hole was drilled. They document at meter 16 intercepting 3 meters of pegmatites. But in 2003, nobody was interested in pegmatites, so they did not sample that hole. We've had the team in the field. We were impacted by the forest fires. We lost 9 weeks with forest fires. We remobilized our team back in there 2nd of August. We've been looking at sampling and mapping throughout all the pegmatites that we have knowledge of and exposure on the property. With those pegmatites, we had it documented through desktop study. We had 17 high priority areas to drill, or look to drill. And what the program right now is doing is that sampling and mapping is taking that 17 and narrowing that down to probably 5. We also have been doing till sampling. We've done 3 airborne programs. We have submitted our drill permit to the government of Quebec. We have a drill under contract, and we intend on drilling, hopefully before the end of this year, but certainly if it's not before the end of this year, in Q1, and we are funded for that drill program. This is just some of the early airborne. At that time, we were still negotiating what is now our larger land package. You'll also see there's a few holes in the donut of land that we don't control. The challenge for us was when we started negotiating in the fall of 2021, Patriot had a sub $20 million market cap. By the time we announced our final acquisition in May, they had a $2 billion market cap. And as their share price went up, so did the ask of the prospectors, and we aren't prepared to be held for ransom. So those pieces are nice to have, not need to have. With 503 square kilometers, we think there's an opportunity for multiple discoveries. In our desktop study, and then dealt with boots on the ground, we also have a nickel sulfide target that will be drilled as a part of the drill program. In addition to chasing the lithium, we do think there's other metals to be found. And if people aren't quite aware of the James Bay, all these projects were picked up originally for the copper gold, but there is a lot of base metal opportunities for us as well. But obviously, anybody who's bought the stock in the last 14 months has bought it for the lithium. While we've been waiting for the assays to come back from the lab, we did have an XRF gun in the field. What you can see on this slide, and this presentation is on our website, and I have a couple of hard copies if anybody wants a takeaway. The XRF gun, what we've seen in the discoveries in the James Bay is the relationship between potassium and rubidium. 100 to 1 is a great ratio. 60 to 1 or 20 to 1 tells you you've got a defined drill target. On this map, we have now 4 legitimate drill targets, and the colors that matter there are the burgundy, orange, and yellow. And you can see there's 2 on the southwest, and there's one right where that Inco hole was, and another one just north of that. So those are drill targets that we anticipate and plan on drilling this in the coming days. Going to turn our attention over to Idaho. We started as an Idaho-centric company, and we have 4 cobalt properties in Idaho. We are in the royal blue here. The Twin Peaks would be our featured property. It's a past-producing mine. It produced in the 1920s and again in the 1930s. Notable neighbors directly on our west in the yellow and the powder blue is Electra Battery Metals, formerly First Cobalt. They paid $180 million US for that property in 2018. That's the Iron Creek. Up in the pink at the northwest part of the cobalt belt is Jervois, or Gervais, depending if you want to say it the French way or the Australian way. They just spent $225 million building that property, or building that mine. I was fortunate enough to go underground there before they put it on care and maintenance. They put it on care and maintenance due to the cobalt price, or that's what they've said. We think we're using that as a tactic to negotiate with the U.S. government. We've seen them just get $15 million off balance sheet funding from the Department of Energy to move their feasibility study from Finland to the U.S. They are looking to now build that facility on the continent, and we think we can benefit from that. And certainly in tracking the website and who's attending our website, we see a who's who of industry and government agencies in the U.S. And the governor, for those who don't know, is a pro-mining governor. This is a pro-mining state. He has now sent me into D.C. twice to meet with different lobbyists and senators and congressmen to get support. Twin Peaks has an NOI. We can drill that. However, with $4.3 million in the bank and people giving us no value for the cobalt, we don't think that's the right strategy, is to come in and drill that currently. Part of our corporate umbrella, or our corporate strategy, I'll maybe speak to that a little bit. Our corporate strategy currently is pre-discovery, have both the cobalt and lithium under one corporate flag, with discovery, to then create a spin out and give our shareholders a second company and a second chance at wealth. Earlier I showed you a slide of the map of Quebec for the infrastructure. Here I thought I'd show a couple of pictures. The picture on the left is the road into the Twin Peaks. That's 5.5 kilometers to the paved highway that leads up to the town of Salmon. You know, most geologists, when they're out in the field, stay in some Super 8 flea bag motel where they're worried about bed bugs. Here we actually rent 2 cabins from the rancher, and that's where they have their morning coffee before they walk to the office. We have power at the site. We have, because of the benefit of Jervois, the town of Salmon is now a mining hub. ALS has built a lab there, processing area before they ship it out to Twin Falls. SRK has an engineering office there, heavy equipment operator, drill contractor. Anybody who's involved in the mining business, we now can walk down the street and knock on the door. This shows a zoom in on the Twin Peaks. We do have drill targets. We've had some sampling and mapping. We also flew an airborne program this summer, so we've been busy at both in our Quebec lithium asset as well as in Idaho. And we intend on making a discovery of magnitude here the same way we will in Quebec. I don't think I need to tell you anything about why lithium or why cobalt. What I will say is that I think a lot of investors don't appreciate that after 2024, if you don't have a free trade agreement with America, those metals can't come in without penalty or tariff. So we are in a bird's eye view, the right jurisdictions, under the right administrations. Support, we've all made investments in jurisdictions where we've had to worry about the local strongman or a corrupt politician coming in and seizing the asset. Fraser Institute every year ranks mining jurisdictions. Quebec is ranked number 4, Idaho is ranked number 9. I don't have to worry about those things in Quebec or in Idaho. We've seen it firsthand in Idaho. We've now started to have those conversations with the Quebec government. These are real relationships that want to see industry. They want to see the electrification of North America. They want to create an electric corridor along the St. Lawrence Seaway to fund into the U.S. And within our team, with the established relationships we already have in Korea and Japan, we think we can play a meaningful role for the investor. Cap table, our chart doesn't look much different than other people's. It's not a friendly looking chart unless you're looking to buy the stock right now. But again, as I said, as a team, we own roughly 30% of the company. This is a moment in time. This is about building a business where we can lead to mining decisions. We have $4.3 million in the bank. There's $8.5 million in warrants. Half of those expire in June of next year. We have call features on those warrants, so we can self-fund this. We expect with drilling and that discovery that those warrants will come in naturally and organically. We won't have to call those. This is the Lassonde curve. Everybody has seen variations of this chart. I want to just highlight where we feel we are in comparison to our direct neighbors. Winsome, $9 million IPO to a $300 million market cap, tapping the market for $60 million, now sitting at about $270 million market cap. Patriot, from a $20 million market cap to $2 billion, all in that discovery phase. Now they're about $1.1 billion with their the best discovery resource in North America. Jervois, when they bought that project in 2018, they had a $60 million market cap. They went up to $1.4 billion, and now they've done the orphan phase where they've come back. That discovery window is our next 12 months as a company, and we believe wealth is there for our shareholders. So in summation, we've got a team who's done this before. We've got the relationships within the industry to advance a project to mining decisions and also to take product with offtake. We've got our own skin in the game, so we're aligned with the shareholder. We've got lots of news to come. We've got probably 1,000 samples in the lab. We still have the till sampling program happening right now. We have a drill ready to go to the project with that drill permit coming, and we're also drill ready in Idaho. There's the forward-looking statement I promised and contact information. Thank you.